All right, it's squeaky chair time. What? What's that look on your face?
Nothing. It couldn't just be the 30 and Nerdy podcast. It has to be
What?
squeaky chair time.
It is both of those things. They are one and the same.
They are.
What's your name?
I'm Gina.
I'm Matt from 30andNerdy.com. And this podcast, we're going to talk about the Los Angeles comic book and science fiction convention that we went to. When was it? Was it a Sunday?
It was Sunday, February 24th.
Ah, there we go. Okay, and so how did you find out about this? We had a posting on it on our site a while ago, kind of like letting people know the when and where of it. How did you stumble upon it?
We had just posted up the calendar, and I thought, I should probably take a look and see what fun events are going on in LA. So I just did a search for some conventions in Los Angeles, and it was one of the first ones that popped up. It was going to be the soonest one, so I popped it on there. I thought, we should go and check it out. I had never heard of it. Didn't know anybody else who had ever been to it, so I thought it'd be cool for us to see what it was like.
Yeah, I remember you sent me the link to it, and I looked at it, and some of the highlights are the big names that were going to be showing up celebrity-wise to it were, do you remember their real names?
Which ones? We had Ray Park.
Okay, Ray Park, a.k.a. Darth Maul, Toad. What else is he known for?
That's about it for me. I think he's in a couple other things, but I don't know offhand.
He does a lot of stuff because he's
Yes.
he's a real martial artist. He's
Yes.
a stuntman. It didn't even say that he was Toad from the first X-Men film. I just knew he was. I remember when he does his little staff twirl.
Yep.
I forget who he's fighting, Storm or somebody like that, and you're like, oh, it's the Dark Storm.
Okay.
Because remember, she has that horrible line about, you know what happens to... she got a really horrible line in the movie where she
when
ends
he gets
it with
struck by lightning.
Yeah,
wow.
the same thing that happens to everything,
That's
everyone,
right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And he does his little staff twirl. It's his Darth
Yeah.
Maul shout out.
Yeah, that's right.
Kind of
It's been a
funny.
while.
Yeah. So he was there. Edward Furlong was there, who I guess is still known as John Connor from Terminator 2.
He will never outlive it. He will never outgrow it.
Yeah, a little bit on that later, actually. And then what's their heads from The Walking Dead?
There was Andrea, who's Laurie Holden,
Laurie Holden.
and Michonne.
Yeah, but we could not figure out how to pronounce her name.
They pronounced it Denai Guerrera
Yeah?
at the convention. I have no idea how you're really supposed to pronounce it. But she was there, and
Right.
she was dreadlockless, nice bald head, and Laurie Holden was there, and they were signing autographs.
The announcer there with his Sunday voice.
Yeah.
Were you surprised to see her head shaved?
No, I had seen her like that before in photos and whatnot, so I know she didn't really have that whole head of hair. I know you were.
The dreadlocks? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess let's start there. Let's touch base with that. Okay, so we live in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrities are everywhere. I mean, you don't bump into them nearly as much as you'd think. I mean, maybe people who follow television and stuff like that see a lot more people. I'm probably just like really ignorant to all the faces that are around me every single day. And I always claim that I don't get starstruck. It's kind of like it's been this thing that I'm really, really proud of because, like when I go to concerts and stuff like that now, we go... Okay, on the rare occasion I go to concerts and stuff now, I never get starry-eyed over bands, like performers and stuff like that.
Okay.
Maybe it's because I tried doing music for so long also, you know? But when I saw them sitting there, I was kind of like, ugh, I was like a deer in the headlights.
Oh, it was kind of cool, especially because it's not like they were behind walls or doors. They were really just out in the open. Anyone could just line up, get an autograph. They weren't, there weren't a bunch of bodyguards or anything. You just walk up and take a look at them, and it wasn't, anything weird or offsetting.
There weren't bodyguards, but there was the gentleman, maybe even more than one person, but I remember the one guy standing behind them, which is pointing out people in the background, maybe 50 feet away from them, maybe more, saying, no pictures, like signaling with his arms and hands. You're not allowed to take pictures. Yeah. And then the way that this space is set up at this comic book convention, it's medium size.
Yes.
To me, it felt like a warehouse space.
It was the expo hall right next to the Shrine Auditorium, which is in downtown LA. It's on the USC campus area. So yeah, it's pretty run down. It's really old. It's not as lively or as beautiful as it used to be.
Yeah, and but there's 2 floors to it, and the second floor, is there three? Are you gonna correct me?
No, 2 floors. You're right.
Okay, you had this look on your face.
Oh no, you're right.
In the second floor, it has you can kind of look over the edge of
Yes,
I don't know, it's not like a railing, it's just
like a balcony,
the
kind of.
balcony. Yeah, it's a good word for it. And when we looked up, there were people with just really nice looking cameras with huge zoom lenses, and you could tell they were gonna get some close up photos,
Yeah.
whether the guy behind the actresses wanted them to or not.
Yes, exactly. We were
Yeah.
we were gonna kind of go online and try to search for him too if we could find anything.
just to,
We've yet to do that though.
just to see how their photos turned out.
Yes,
Just
exactly.
with that lens to see like, oh wow, like are we going to be looking at the pores in their skin?
Yeah, 'cause
Like
they got better shots than we did with our phones. So.
yeah. Well, I didn't sneak any pictures of them. Did you?
Oh no, I thought you did. But
No,
no,
I
okay.
didn't. Yeah, we got nothing. Um, I guess while we're still on the topic of actors and actresses, then okay, Edward Furlong, John Connor. We looked him up in IMDb on our phones while we were there, or at least I did, and I was like, wow, he's still working. He's in a handful of movies and television, and just he does things, and he has been since his Terminator 2 role, up until 2013. He's got like 3 projects that he's in to some degree that are going to come out, whether it's direct to DVD or the theater or wherever. I didn't look that deep into it. And I was like, geez, you've still been working since you were this little kid, but you're known as the guy from Terminator 2.
Yep. I even heard that. Well, I didn't see it, but he was even in the Green Lantern. So I had no idea about that. The last thing I saw him in was in American History X, and even that was kind of surprising.
Oh, that's right. Because in American History X, he was obviously not as old as he is now.
Yes, exactly. But
Yeah.
he didn't look as burned out or as rugged or as old as he did
You use
there.
the term burned out.
He did. He looked so like aged and worn and just
He looked unhappy.
absolutely. He did not want to be there.
No.
He was just looking down, just pacing, kind of rocking back and forth, just
Yeah.
hoping to get it over with.
Yeah. Oh, it was weird too. You know what the funny thing is though, we noticed that, and he was sitting there and he looked like Mr. Cranky Pants. But I don't think I stuck around to see what his actual autograph signing sessions looked like. If when fans came up to him, maybe he like all of a sudden like snaps his fingers and like he's got like this, hey, how's it going, sport, type of thing that he does, and he signs Terminator 2 posters.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. But
Yeah.
it's a big contrast to Ray Park, who was standing right next to him, so much more alive and so much more happy to be there, talking with people, just having a good time.
Yeah, Ray Park looked awesome. You're right. He was really animated. He they were like opposites. They were like black and white, you know? Just complete contrasts of each other. Ray Park, oh my god. Yeah, he looked fun. We didn't stand, we didn't gawk.
No.
Not really.
We looked at comic books and we looked at all the little
Yeah.
venues and the tables.
But this place was so small that after we did like say like a whole round around the place, which we were able to do. Okay, not thumbing through anything, just walking around.
Yes.
20 minutes?
Probably. Yeah, about.
And then we'd end up right back in front of Furlong again.
Yeah.
And so we noticed him, on more than one occasion with the same sulky, get me out of here
Yes.
look on his face.
Yeah, absolutely.
The one thing I wasn't sure of, did you see a sign anywhere that said that they were paying for, like people had to pay for autographs or anything like that?
$30 per autograph.
No way! So they are doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, I always wondered. I went to, I think it was the Chicago Comic-Con years and years ago. Like I've said before to you, nowhere near as big and glamorous and glorious as what I hear the San Diego one is. But it's still big enough. Just not as flashy. Who was it? Whatever the guy's name is that plays Winston from Ghostbusters.
Oh, wow.
And he was there. And Garrett, my friend Garrett, my best friend Garrett, my best guy friend Garrett, he wanted an autograph / picture with him so badly, and he was so broke at the time. And I remember, I don't know his name, we'll just call him Winston. Winston's bodyguard, PR, what are those people really called? It's a
Manager,
agent person.
something,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like, no, just kind of like I felt like figuratively like picked him up by the back of his clothes and like threw him to the
Tossed
curb,
them out. Yep.
yeah. And I had a new DS at the time, whatever the model was that could take pictures, like really crummy 0.3
3DI
megapixels.
with the
Yeah, yeah,
DSI.
the DSi, yeah. And so I kind of sat off to the side and I took pictures of the whole thing. I should put them. I should put them up on the internet somewhere. It's like a picture of the manager guy with his arm sticking out and his finger shooing him off into the
Oh my
distance,
goodness.
and Garrett just standing there looking heartbroken.
Oh, how sad.
Well, I giggled.
It was funny for you.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just so funny. Like these, maybe people like Winston and Furlong, maybe they're not making millions of dollars anymore. So like every $30 counts.
There was a pretty long line too. We couldn't distinguish because they were sitting next to each other. The
It was
line,
hundreds of people.
if it was for Ray Park or Edward Furlong, but
Oh,
that line that went up the stairs,
yeah,
through the balcony, up around, wrapping from the front of the building as
yeah,
well. Yeah, you're right. It's a couple hundred people waiting in line for an
yeah.
autograph from somebody.
So you got to figure like that's at least what like so $3,000 then.
If they were all for one person,
If
yeah.
if it was 100 people,
Yes.
all for, and it had to have been,
Yeah.
yeah, unless Ray Park got everybody and Furlong got like 3 people.
You never know. Yeah, you couldn't really tell, but somebody made a decent amount of money that day.
Yeah.
For us, anyways.
Yeah.
Decent amount of money for us.
Moving away from celebrities and their money hungry ways, for you and I going to this comic book convention together, it was the first time in a long time that either one of us had actually thumbed through comic books.
Oh yeah, quite a while.
I love comic books in that I collected them when I was a kid. Just I had tons and tons and tons and moving and things like that. It's like almost all of them got lost. I've got a few awesome issues left still back in Illinois. Some amazing issues of The Punisher, like first issue of Ghost Rider, just like some really
Oh
first issue of
wow.
What?
What? Really? I
Yeah,
didn't know that. That's
yeah, I have to
awesome.
show you next time we go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're in the closet somewhere. And so yeah, it was like like this. I was a Marvel kid growing up too. I never really got into like Batman and
Okay.
Superman and things like that. I don't have anything against DC. I don't have anything against any comic book publisher. For the record, I think they're Marvel, DC, Dark Horse. All the indie people, Image and stuff like that. Like they're all amazing. If the art's awesome, the writing's awesome, the characters are awesome. What's not to like? It's win-win. Anyways, it was the first time you and I had looked at comic books in a really long time. We go into comic book shops all the time together over the past year and a half or so. But it's
Yep.
usually just super, super, super casually browsing. In any of the
Yes.
comic book shops we went, it's like we go for the atmosphere. We go to look with our eyes, not with our hands.
Yes, absolutely.
And here we were doing both. And you kind of inspired me in that it was still a little bit weird for me. Like going to this convention, if I was by myself, who knows? I may have still just looked
Aw.
at the boxes of comic books and not dug down in there. But you're like, 50 cents.
Heck yeah. There was tons of vendors there just like, hey, this whole box is $1. This whole box is 50 cents. I thought, okay, why not just jump in, see what there is. If you see anything you like, it's only 50 cents. So we ended up buying like 10, 12 comic books. I mean, not too many, but it was cool just to go through and be like, oh, this looks interesting. They open it up. Yeah, sure, we'll get this. I loved it. Just seeing all these titles. I didn't really like going through and seeing a whole box full of like, the Amazing Spider-Man. Not because he's not awesome, but because like I knew about Spider-Man. I know about Spider-Man. I've read about him. But like I really wanted to try like new comics, things that I had never heard of, storylines I didn't know anything about. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go through and just find anything that looks amazing, anything that's gonna catch my eye.
And we did.
Yeah.
We've got like a little stack here that we brought home. I don't know. Maybe some people have heard of some of these. Maybe not. You wanna go through and tell people what we ended up picking up?
Sure, we have one. It's John Woo's Seven Brothers. We got that. The cover art is amazing.
The cover art is amazing, and we're like 99% sure this is really signed by him. It says to Ken, best wishes, John Woo, and crazy John Woo signature. We might be able to look up his signature online.
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
see if it's legit or not, because it's also written in a, I don't know, was that Chinese? Yeah. Okay, so
But
what
yeah,
else
that
do we
was
get?
fun. We have Eternals by Neil Gaiman.
And I dropped it. there while you were thumbing through. We
Aw.
bought that. I mean, luckily it was only $1.
Yep.
But the artwork on it's amazing. It's
It
got this
is.
green and black and brown thing going on. And I dropped it and I bent the upper left-hand corner of it. Well, it got bent when it fell and hit the ground. And I just felt like the biggest piece of crud ever.
Aw.
What?
Don't feel bad. Just a buck.
I'm over it now.
Good. All right. We have one of the Fear Itself series, Fearsome 4, which mind-blowingly has Howard the Duck on the cover.
Here's the thing, and this is going to sound so, like, there's people who will listen to you say that, who will be like, well, duh, Howard the Duck.
Exactly. I'm so ignorant right now.
Me too, I was too. And I didn't even, he doesn't even look like the
No.
Howard the Duck that I know
No.
from on the cover. He
Not
looks
at
like
all.
this...
Like a tough Donald Duck.
He's got a baseball bat in his hand. He's making a fist with the other hand. Here's the funny thing. What was it? I don't know what I was reading the other day. I was reading something online. I think it was about George Lucas because he directed... Well, I believe he directed the Howard the Duck movie. And somebody said, yeah, that was like... Okay, I don't know if George Lucas directed it, but I think that was like a Lucas film production,
Okay,
you know?
All right.
Somebody in some message board somewhere wrote a comment about how, like, well, we should have... seen how he handled Howard the Duck, and we should have known that the other Star Wars movies were going to be in trouble.
Wow.
Because Howard the Duck was this... Somebody said, like, he knows quack foo. Like, quack foo is his thing, no joke. And so seeing him here on the cover next to She-Hulk and some other characters I don't know, I guess that's how he was before Lucas turned him into this, like, sex fiend, time traveling
Dork.
Was that late 80s movie?
It had to have been.
It was late 80s or super early 90s, one of the two.
That makes so much more sense now that you're saying that. I never would have thought about it. I never would have drawn that conclusion, but that makes so much sense.
About why the movie exists? That it was like a pre-existing character?
Well, that and just like his interpretation of that different interpretation that is not in the comic books. This is totally like, I don't know, it was commercialized type thing. I don't know. But that, like what you're saying about how the other Star Wars movies turned out, that...
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Little side note, I watched the Howard the Duck movie for the first time probably just a year ago, 2 years most. I had never seen it growing up.
Really?
Yeah. The Garrett, the same Garrett that I mentioned earlier. He was the one like, oh my God, you never seen Howard the Duck? You gotta watch it. You're gonna love it.
What?
Yeah. I don't know that I loved it.
No.
I just, yeah.
It was an interesting...
It had its moments.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow, that's so weird. Okay, anyways, moving along to our next ones. We got Teen Titan, annual number 1 from June 2009.
Because we both like the animation, the cartoon.
Absolutely.
Teen Titans.
And the music.
And the music.
We got a couple of issues of a series called Two Guns. The cover art looks amazing. Again, we pretty much based this on cover art. We didn't have time to go through every comic and like read snippets of it. So when we saw something we liked, we grabbed it.
Yeah.
Another issue of Teen Titans Annual from 2006.
We gotta either take pictures of these or find some pictures and then make like a little gallery underneath the link for the podcast.
Absolutely. We got first issue of Kill Giants, or I Kill Giants.
I opened this one up and looked at it. It's interesting. The artwork on the inside, it's Image makes it. It's black and white illustrations on the inside, and it's one of those ones where I took that tape off and I peeled the tape off the back of the comic book or the holder, and I like flipped through it, and like the lady was looking at me weird, and I was like, oh,
maybe I shouldn't do that.
I don't know. It was in like the 50-cent section or dollar
exactly.
section.
It's not
or
a
whatever.
big deal.
I was like, we
issue
bought it anyways.
Exactly. Issue number 1, Mirror's Edge, December 2008.
Okay, that one surprises me. That was one of your picks.
Yeah.
I mean, I played through the game, so I don't know. Even like thumbing through it now, like it looks cool. I played through the next gen title, well, current generation title, and the iOS version. I like it, man. I hope they make a sequel to it. What drew you to Mirror's Edge? Have you played it? Did you play the game?
Yeah, I own it. It's right there.
Oh,
yeah.
You're right. It is right there.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. They had a comic book. So I'm like, I'm gonna snatch this up and see what it's like.
Okay, cool.
Next one we got Lady Justice, again by Neil Gaiman.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to check that one out. And then the first X-Men before Xavier's Dream. So that looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
These are all issue number 1s. I know some comics were renumbered to number one quite a while ago. I think it was only DC though, but
I think I
or
found this
something.
one, right?
Yeah,
I was
she
like,
did.
look.
So it looks pretty awesome. Wolverine slashing up the cover, Sabretooth, and a couple other heroes I am unfamiliar with. So
Yeah. We've been watching 90s X-Men on and off in between Doctor Who and what else? Watching anything
reboot
else? Reboot.
and X Files.
Yeah. Oh my god, I still love 90s X-Men.
Oh,
The animation.
yep.
Oh, so good.
So yeah, we walked away with a couple of tokens, so a couple of nice.
Yeah. This is going to be a longer podcast. We're going to go a little bit longer because I remember the other thing that I really wanted to talk about, and maybe this is just, is people. Not the people there. It was nerds of all shapes and sizes and
Ages
who
and
knows what else. Ages, yeah. But it's the people running the comic book booths and the few different personality types you have in that.
oh yeah,
Okay, so you've got the people who are selling stuff. Sometimes it's stuff, and you don't even know where they got it
it's
from.
like
It's
stuff
not
they
even comic
collected,
books.
yeah, or
Yeah,
like old Simpsons action figures or stuff they have in their garage and wanted to get rid
yeah,
of.
that's
So
fine. To each their own. But that version of the vendor is often the person just kind of sitting there, very quiet, no eye contact. Just look at my stuff. If you want it, you give me some money.
not just walk away.
Just walk away. It is weird,
Yeah,
right?
it's I don't know, like it doesn't look like they want to be there. It doesn't look like they want to talk to you, but
Does it make you not want to buy their stuff though?
a little bit.
Really?
Yeah,
Just based on principle?
yeah, I guess. But there are some people there who are just so eager to be like, hey, what's going on? How
Yeah.
you doing? Welcome. You see anything you like? You looking for anything in particular? And it's like, hey, what's going on? Like you want to be near those people.
Yeah, like the guy who one of us pointed out to the other person. We're like, Chew, because you reviewed the first digital issue of Chew.
That's correct.
And he's like, you guys like the Chew? Look at this issue of the Chew I got up here on the wall. It's only $80.
And it's signed
And it's
first,
signed.
yeah,
Yeah.
first edition or first issue, and I was like, ooh. So
Yeah.
he knew, he caught what people were looking at. He knew, he was on you.
Yeah. If you guys want to see it closer, if you need anything, you let me know. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that guy. Then there's the guy, and they're not all guys. There's women there also.
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah, definitely. But then there's the person, shall we say, who knows everything about everything. Very opinionated about artwork from certain authors and things like that, which is all fine. But it's just so. And we didn't actually come in direct contact with somebody, but I remember listening to some of these vendors just spewing forth all of this detailed information
Yes,
about
like
the
an
histories.
encyclopedia
Yes.
of comic books.
Yes. And I don't know. Sometimes as far as being an encyclopedia of something is concerned, like I feel like I am that way about video games to a very large degree.
Yes.
I know there's people that definitely are above and beyond what I am inside as far as that. But it was so interesting hearing it come out, but be in the comic book language, which is something I know nothing about, you know?
Yep. And they were going on about detailed stuff, like what the artwork was like in like 1980 compared to 1981, and what this character went through all the 4 different series of comic books that they were in. I mean, very detailed stuff, and like you said, very opinionated about. Well, I didn't like the direction they went through in this season, and they had this. They cut that season off, and they went through this one. This is like decades ago. They're talking about comics in the 70s and 80s. So I mean, their knowledge was just far more superior than anything I'd seen.
Did you feel yourself shrinking in front of them? Like, I'm just going to sit over here in the corner and thumb through your stuff?
Exactly. Maybe find a Buffy comic or something that I knew.
But that was the risk that you take. When you find that Buffy comic and you pull it out and you look at it, if you look at it for more than, I don't know, a fraction of a second, you risk him coming over to you and telling you everything you never knew about Buffy comics.
Exactly, about how many he has and how many issues. Exactly, yes. And I'm
Right.
like, I'll just, real quick.
Yeah.
Let him attach himself to somebody else while I'm over here thumbing through.
Yeah, but that's just us. Like, I think it's cool when people that like talking about that stuff to that degree find people who can shoot it all back at them, and then you hear like a really good conversation going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But not just one person talking and the other people just kind of listening like, yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting overall. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Do I sound like that sometimes when I tell you about video game stuff that's going on in the video game world? Like when I tell you, I don't know.
No, because your stories are short and sweet. Like, you're like,
Yeah.
you get to the point.
What did I tell you? The other day I gave you like a little piece of video game history and I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was about how Sony first approached Nintendo about
The PlayStation.
yeah.
That's correct.
It was,
Yeah.
I forget how it came about. Oh, maybe because the PS4 press conference was
Yep,
coming
that's
up and
right. Yep. Yeah, and
I,
how Nintendo, you said you didn't know how they were going to survive, and
now
yeah, exactly.
wow, that's a whole nother topic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I want them to though. For the record, like I love my 3DS. I love so much of the potential in like the Wii U,
Mm.
and I don't want to see them go anywhere. They're not going to. They have like billions of
Hopefully
yen.
not. Yeah, hopefully not.
They have billions and billions of yen.
Yeah.
They got those reserves, you know.
Yep.
um, wow. If they were ever in financial trouble, all they would have to do would be make Pokemon Go to iOS or Android or both. It could probably be one
Wow.
of those titles that they could probably sell for $50 on iOS.
Wow. That
And
would be maybe not that much, but that would definitely be a huge market for them. That'd be awesome.
they would out Angry Birds. Angry Birds.
Yes, absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes me
I
want
guess.
to play Pokemon again. I should get my DS out.
You should.
Yeah, I should.
Okay, comic books.
Yes.
The comic book convention. Is there anything else you wanted to say about it?
Just the sketchy part of town it was in. It was in the Shrine Auditorium, so I mean, you risk that when you're going to downtown LA, especially near like USC and whatnot. But I mean, overall, I liked it. You know, Expo Hall's a little rundown, but it was cool. It was small. It was purely, really just comic books. Couple of little artists and scroll artists, you know, for commissions and stuff that they were there, but
Yeah.
it was very selective. It wasn't entirely, everything and anything out there. So I liked it. I had enjoyed it.
Right. If we had to further paint a picture of how unlarge, also known as small, they described it as a medium size. There was a sign on the outside
Yeah.
that said something along the lines of "This is a medium-sized convention,
Yes.
not to be confused with larger conventions like Comic-Con."
Exactly. Yes.
You said Comic-Con is bigger than Anime Expo in LA, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Everything about it. Okay, besides celebrities and things like that, you're saying the space is bigger, right? Or is it
It's at
about the same?
San Diego Convention Center.
Yeah.
Probably about the same, yeah.
Probably about the same size. Okay, so and oh my god, I'm trying to compare. So this convention towards compared to a convention of like that size, it was like 1/100th.
Probably. Oh yeah, very small.
1/100th.
Yeah. Huh. It seemed like a child's like a elementary school's auditorium. Maybe that was the size of it, and it wasn't even completely filled up. So yeah,
Yeah.
about that.
Okay. Cool. But overall, it was a good time, right?
I loved it.
It was fun getting into comic books again. I
Yep.
can't wait to actually read some of these things physically in our hands versus. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Okay, so I said that I've been like out of like the comic book loop and stuff like that, but really, I've been doing a lot of digital downloading and reading. I've been reading the Sandman graphic novel series.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, 12 or 13 issues into that, and oh my god, I love it. It's so good. Again, Neil Gaiman.
Oh.
Yeah,
But
makes
yeah,
my heart go pitter patter. How's that make you feel?
jealous.
Jealous. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to add?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. We're going to go read some comics
Yeah.
and eat some lasagna.
Yeah.
Rustic lasagna. Did you have fun at Squeaky Chair Time?
I did. I enjoyed it. It's been
Yeah.
a long day, but it's nice.
All right. We hope you guys enjoy Squeaky Chair Time.
Mm-hmm.
This is Matt and Gina,
Yep. Signing off.
30andnerdy.com. Thanks for listening. Oh, wait, one more thing. That's right. Wait, no. One more thing. Because I almost forgot. Okay, so remember last podcast when I said, this guy, Jeremy?
Yes.
Okay, well, Jeremy actually texted me because we are, in fact, friends. And in the way I read the text was I picture him with a frowny face and his fist clenched, shaking at me like, this guy? This guy? How about my good friend, Jeremy? And that's exactly what he is. And so I'm not apologizing. That's really dumb. But sometimes when we sit here in front of a microphone, it's weird. It's weird. It's like you enter this other world, this other dimension, and whether friends and family members and stuff like that listen to it, and of course we hope we do, and people that we've never met before, it's you become vulnerable when you start talking too much about like your personal life. Like that is and isn't what this is about, both at the same time, and it's like this really weird gray hodgepodge of emotions and things, right?
Mm-hmm. A
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, because you're like vulnerable, but you don't want to say too much. So,
Yeah.
anyways, yes, my good friend Jeremy, if you're listening, know that you are just that. And we personally hope you enjoy squeaky chair time.
Absolutely.
Later.